All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then for second, I believe we need to appoint both alternates as voting members tonight. Do I have a motion to do that?
Yeah, we can't make that
I'll
motion.
make a
Only-
motion.
Irene, you can.
Only you can make that motion.
Make a motion.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Great.
Okay. So the two alternates who are here will also be voting members tonight. Just to give you a little background of what to expect, all conversation needs to come through the board. So the applicant will present their petition. The board will then ask questions. We'll then go out into the audience for anyone who is in favor. The board will then listen to the questions. The applicant may have a chance to respond to them. After that, we'll go out to the audience for anyone who's opposed. Anyone opposed will have an opportunity to speak. The applicant will have an opportunity to respond to them. But all conversations will come through the board. And after all public comment and the application itself have been submitted, the board will go into deliberations. At that point, we'll discuss amongst ourselves. You're free to wait tonight for the decision, or you can, I believe, find out the decision at the town clerk's office tomorrow morning, if you'd prefer. But feel free to wait tonight. I believe we also, don't know, do we have minutes that I have to check? Yes, we do. So would anyone like to make a motion with respect to the minutes from the March 15th, 2023 meeting?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 15th, 2023 meeting.
Does anyone second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
Is there any report from the town council liaison? Looks like no. Regional impact determinations?
Yes, one this evening. Request for variance from LZO 4213C1 to encroach approximately 28 feet into the 40-foot front setback for the renovation of an existing structure, 104 Litchfield Road, map 11, lot 26, zoned AR1. Kristen and Luke Shapler are the owners and applicants, and staff is recommending this is not of regional impact.
Would anyone like to make a motion with respect to the regional impact determination of this case?
I move to accept the regional determination impact.
Any second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Everybody ready to hear the first case?
I have a question. Prior ZBAs I've been involved with them, we had a short number. What's the procedure as far as the voting? Does it have to be unanimous, 3-1?
So it'll have to be, they still need 3 votes.
Correct.
And so when they get called, they get an opportunity to,
We just, probably should make them aware of that because.
yes, that's the first thing once they get called. Case number 419-2023-1, a request for a variance from LZO 4.2.1.3.c.1 to encroach approximately 28 feet into the 40-foot front setback for the renovation of an existing structure, 104 Litchfield Road, map 11, lot 026, zoned AR1, Kristen and Luke Shapler, owner and applicants. So feel free to come right up here to the microphones. And so, as I just mentioned, before you get started with your presentation,
Yep.
There's only 4 voting members tonight on the board. So you still need 3 of the 4. So if you'd prefer, you can continue the case to another night when you'd have all 5 members. And so you'd need 3 out of 5 instead of 3 out of 4. But that's completely up to you.
We'd like to do it tonight.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And my understanding is you'd like us to go through the 5 variance criteria and discuss our position on each item?
Absolutely. If you could go through the 5 variance criteria, and then if you have any other, anything else you'd like to present with respect to that, but the 5 variance criteria is the key.
Okay, sounds good. So the first being the variance will not be contrary to the public interest. Our position is that this variance only stands to improve both the appearance of the property and the neighborhood. I don't know if anyone has driven by, but it is currently a major eyesore. It's in extreme disrepair. So again, only stands to improve the appearance of the neighborhood. And I'll be brief on these. We think it's a pretty straightforward case. Secondly, the spirit of the ordinance is observed. When I read the ordinance, to me, it means that, we're looking to prevent overcrowding in the neighborhood. This structure already exists. We're not adding anything. It is a substantial distance from the road, as you mentioned, approximately 28 feet. And a substantial distance is also maintained from our abutters. Third, substantial justice is done. Allowing the variance would allow us to add a garage onto our property, which would of course improve our property value without creating any diminished value or undue hardship for our abutters. Fourth, the values of surrounding properties are not diminished. As I mentioned, the current structure is in extreme disrepair, you can see on the screen. So again, it only has potential to improve surrounding property values and won't diminish any. Fifth, literal enforcement of the provisions would result in an unnecessary hardship. So we think the special condition here is that the foundation already exists. It already existed when we purchased the property in 2020. The proposed use is a reasonable one. The property currently has no garage. We feel it's reasonable to add one. The other use for the space is to create an overhead room above the garage. We would use that as kind of a bonus room for, Luke has a lot of music equipment, so it would be used for that, which we think is a reasonable improvement. If the variance was rejected, our options would be either leave the structure in place, demolish the structure and rebuild, which would likely be cost prohibitive for us. And the new structure wouldn't be substantially different in position from where it would be if the variance is allowed. It would be, 10 or 12 feet further back. So that is where we stand. Happy to answer any questions.
I have a question.
Yep, go right ahead.
So you mentioned that it is 28 feet from the road.
No, it's actually, it probably is over 40 feet from the road. It's, according to what I saw on the town's, I don't know what you call it, but on the board out there, 28 feet from our setback.
Okay, so it is 28 feet into, which way is it into? It's from the property towards the road is 28 feet too close, correct?
Yeah, if we could look up here. So I don't know what the terminology is. What is the word for the,
It's encroaching 28 feet into the 40-foot setback.
Okay, it's
So 28
encroaching.
feet.
Okay, so it should be 40 feet from the front. It's 28 feet too close, meaning it's only 12 feet
yes, that's my
from the
understanding.
front setback. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Any other questions?
No, I just want to make a statement that when that was built, I'm sure the zoning was different for setbacks. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been built that way, right? The only question I really have, because it's a footprint issue, is you mentioned this bonus room, but I need to ask our zoning administrator was here. Can we put a caveat, if we approve this, that that space may not be used as a residence? Because now you have a residence on the property, which I know about everybody else, I would have a problem with that because you could rent it out, do whatever. I'm sure we have something in our zoning ordinance about that. So can we do that? We can put a caveat on it?
We would readily accept that. I do have a lot of music equipment, and we have a newborn on the way, so that's going to
We have no intention of using it as a residence, so that would be,
I would perhaps going through the criteria would help clarify what they're using the structure for further, but they that we do allow for detached ADUs, so if they wanted to in the future, they could come forward with a proposal like that. I don't know if this would comply with it, but I'd be hesitant to put a restriction like that.
Okay.
I feel like it would be hard to enforce as well.
That was my only comment.
I have a question. Is it just the 20 by 24 foot structure, or is it in back
It's
as
the
well, the
section.
28 by 8?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. It's a section that's further back from the road. The dimensions aren't listed there, but it's over 30 feet in width. So there's kind of like two boxes. The first that's closer to the road would just be part of the driveway going into the garage.
So there wouldn't be any structure built on top of that front segment,
Correct.
just the back segment?
Yep.
Okay.
And so that front segment's the one that's marked 20 by 24?
Yes.
Okay. So the only building would be on the structure or the section that's marked 28 by 18?
Correct.
And you said it's a two-story structure you were planning on building?
Yeah, with the first, so that's, it's basically underground. Those walls that you see are like retaining walls. So the garage would be there, and then we would build one story on top of the garage.
So the 20 by 24 leads down.
It's pretty flat, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And so the 20 by 24, will you need to do anything to that to make it a driveway, or will it just stay the same?
There's some drainage issues.
We'll have to
Yeah.
get rid of all the tree debris too. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean, aside from that,
But no
just an
new
entryway.
structure will be built anywhere on that portion of it?
No, it would really be an issue of redirecting the water that pools there.
But if we approve this variance, you'd have to provide stamped and sealed plans to the town for approval anyway, which
Yeah.
include everything that you were talking about. Civil, potentially any civil, architectural, structural, whatever.
Yeah. Our next step would be to speak with a structural engineer to make sure it's actually safe to build on this structure, but this is step one.
Do you have any idea when that structure was built, the structure you're rebuilding?
There was no permit on file. The house was built, I think, in 1942, I want to say. 41,
40s.
something
It was in
like
the
that.
40s, okay.
Yeah, so it's quite old.
So that's a pre-zoning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's-
Yeah, it's got to be, because that road was there. I mean, that's a main road. Any other questions from the board? Anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in favor? Hearing none. Anyone in the audience who would like to speak against? Hearing none. There was a letter received from Allison and Jason Buttle at 99 Litchfield Road that I'll read into the record now. April 19th, 2023, Town of Londonderry Zoning Board of Adjustment, to whom it may concern, case number 4/19/2023-1, request for a variance from LZO 4.2.1.3.c.1, 104 Litchfield Road, map 11, lot 026, zoned AR1, Kristen and Luke Shapler, owner and applicant. Please accept this communication in support of our neighbor's petition to receive a variance to allow for the renovation of an existing structure on the property situated at 104 Litchfield Road, Londonderry, New Hampshire, 03053. Continued enhancement of this property and restoration of its features to include a main dwelling and accompanying garage structure is supported by the undersigned. Renovation of the existing garage/workshop structure is of benefit to the property owners and surrounding residents and will serve to only enhance the aesthetics and property values of the surrounding neighborhood. Your consideration and approval of this variance request is therefore requested. Kind regards, Allison Buttle. Anything else you'd like to add before we go into deliberations?
No?
I think we're good.
Thank
Thanks,
you for
guys.
your time.
Thank you. Anyone want to talk about this one?
I'm okay.
I don't have any questions, to be honest with you.
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
sorry. Did you guys introduce yourself into the record when you came up?
I apologize. They did not. Can you guys come back up and do that? That is my fault. I should have asked you. But
Oh,
I was
no,
asking you instead about.
It's our first time.
We're new here. It's okay.
That's okay. I asked you instead about 3 instead of, 3 out of 4 instead of 3 out of 5. But could you state your name for the record, please, and your address?
Yep. My name is Kristen Shapler. My address is 104 Litchfield Road in Londonderry.
I'm Luke Shapler, and I live there too.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any questions, the chair.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the only one is the fifth one, special conditions of the property, but considering it's pre-zoning
Right.
and on a main road.
Agreed.
I think,
I think we're good to go into it.
I'm okay going through the 5 points of law if everyone else is.
I am.
Okay. Granting the variance would or would not be contrary to the public interest because,
I would say it would.
you think it would be
Oh,
contrary?
sorry, it would not be
Okay.
contrary to the public interest.
Okay, I agree with
Would
that.
not, I
Okay,
agree.
Okay. I don't believe rebuilding the structure would pose a threat to health, safety, or the general welfare. Spirit of the ordinance would or would not be observed because, I would say it would,
It would.
Agreed.
Agreed.
because for the same reasons as one.
Yeah.
Granting the variance would or would not do substantial justice because, I
I'd
would
say
s-
it would.
I agree.
It would improve.
Loss to the applicant would be greater than the loss to the public.
I agree with that. For the following reasons, the values of the surrounding properties would or would not be diminished. I would say would not,
Would
Agreed.
not be
Because-
improved.
yeah, I agree.
Improvement on the property, taking a property from disarray to maintained. If anything, it'll improve them.
Agreed. Owing to special conditions of the property that distinguish it from other properties in the area, denial of the variance would result in unnecessary hardship because, A1, there is or is not a fair and substantial relationship between the general public purpose of the ordinance provision and the specific application of that provision to the property, because I would say there is not.
Yep.
This is
The
a-
property was, or this portion of the property was built pre-zoning, the foundation already exists there. The ability of them, the cost to bring it current on zoning would be far more significant than it would be to improve the existing structure.
I agree. It's a pre-zoning property on a main road with a pre-existing foundation. Everyone agree with that?
Yes.
Yep.
The proposed use is or is not a reasonable one because,
I'd
say
say
is, agreed,
Garages are reasonable.
agreed. Comments, restrictions, including any time frame restrictions.
I say none.
I have none.
I agree. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion on case number 4/19/2023-1. I move to approve the variance request for LZO 4.2.1.3.c.1 to encroach approximately 28 feet into the 40-foot setback for the renovation of existing structure.
Add the word front.
But
Front setback.
front setback, 40-foot front setback.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? No. In case number 4/19/2023-1, the request for a variance was granted. Thank you.
Couldn't open one of these files.
Does anyone have any miscellaneous communications or other business?
Mr. Chair, just for the record, case number 315-2023-4 was formally withdrawn.
Okay, thank you. Do you want us to make a motion on that or anything?
Nope, just
Oh.
wanted to state it for the record.
Okay. Any other communications, miscellaneous business?
Do we know of the other applicant that was going to, that deferred on the property from last month? The other brewery, quote unquote,
They withdrew the application.
they withdrew the application completely.
Oh, that was the one for Talius?
Yes.
Oh, on today's,
That was for the proposed brewery use.
Right,
They
okay.
withdrawn the application.
that was today's, but that was the same case as last month. Is that correct?
Correct, so the
Oh,
board-
okay. I thought so, but I wasn't
The
sure.
board continued the application to this hearing, and since that hearing on March 15th, the applicant withdrew the application.
Right. Okay. It's interesting because I was in Franklin today on business, Franklin, New Hampshire, and I drove by at least 3 breweries, and that's in Franklin. Are we looking at the zoning ordinance at all? I know we mentioned last month, actually, Town Manager Malgoody mentioned that too, that we probably need to revisit that to allow, otherwise they're gonna go to other municipalities and we're losing that revenue, right? You drove home
we
to
are
me just
looking
being
at
in
the
Franklin today, you know? I'm sorry, what?
We are looking at the ordinance.
Yeah. It's just anecdotal, you know, but.
Any other business? Would anyone like to make a motion?
Shall I make a motion to adjourn?
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.